All right, we're recording. Okay, well,
Okay.
welcome to Bob TV. And basically, we're going to go through PowerPoint 101.
All
Can
right.
you see my screen?
I can.
Okay, great. So basically, a couple real quick pointers. So for example, on this screen here, this is about Benjamin Franklin, right? Benjamin Franklin. And then we have all this information about Benjamin Franklin. Now you can read it on your computer, but when you're sitting in the back of a room, you're not going to see any of this. So it really doesn't benefit me one bit to have this information on the screen. And everybody gets their head wrapped around that they have to look really important by putting all the information up there. This is PowerPoint 101 no-no, right? You never, ever, ever do this. And, you know, coming from the business side of things, this is drilled into you that you don't do it. So really what you should have is something like this, right? Benjamin Franklin, he was born January 17th, died April 17th, 1790. Founding father, right? Renowned polymath and leading author, printer, etc. And I can go through each one of these points. Now, each one of these points was made on that other page, right? But now you're focused on exactly what I'm talking about. And notice how I have them gray out every time I talk about one, right? So this is another thing. Instead of bringing all of the points in at one time, you want to do what's called animation. And animation allows you to click on each one of these. You can also have them timed so that they just roll in on their own. And you can have them gray out afterwards or disappear, that kind of thing, right? But this way, they're focused on what you're talking about. They're not looking backward and they're not looking forward. That's really, really critical when you're presenting. Now, a lot of people say to me, okay, well, but I want to give them all that information. And this is really true if afterwards you give handouts or people ask you to email them the presentation. But there's an easy way to do that. On the bottom, you can click notes and you can cut and paste all this information, right, into the note. So I'll increase the note size here, but you can see all the notes are there, right? So what happens now is basically if I went to print this, I can pick under full slide, I can pick slides with notes, with outlines, so note page like this, and then it comes up like that. You see, so now the person gets a great thing, and it's great for handouts, because if people want to read it, they can. I'm not a real big fan of handouts because people tend to read ahead and get ahead of you, so I used to do them all the time, not a fan. So, but that's personal preference, right? So that way you get your cake and you can eat it too. So again, you know, bullet points. Some people say a rule of thumb is never more than 5. I think you can get away with like 6, but really no more than that. You got to have it big so you can really see what's going on, right? So that's just basic 101 doing presentations. Now, if you look at the screen, these are pictures I took from my phone Monday night, right? And you can see what I see, nothing, right? In the middle picture, I can read variables. That's all I can read, right? I can't read anymore. So it didn't really benefit me at all to have that slide, right? At all. I mean, you look at the slide on the left, and then if you look at the slide on the right, there's a chart, but the chart doesn't really show me anything at all. Now, sometimes you have to put up a chart, but there's a way you can put up a chart and still get the data that you want to see. Okay. So for example, let me see, where's that presentation I did on Monday night? Oh, I know where it is. Let me see. Oh, okay. Hold on a second, I moved it. Okay, so this presentation, I have a chart on it, but you're not going to be able to see the information. Mm-hmm. So if I come down here to where the chart is, if I run this, like, you might be able to see it if you're close, but you're not going to see it if you're far away. And especially if you're giving a presentation to something like 40 or 50 people, right? But what you can do is you can take pictures, and through animation, I can pull up the pertinent information, right? Mm-hmm. So I pulled up the top 3 things, and then over here, I pulled up the other stuff I wanted to talk about. But I still show the overall thing, right? So that's a good kind of rule of thumb to do. Now,
and Bob, you said that one was done by taking pictures of it?
Right. So, yeah. So you take pictures, and so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get into what's called animations. So animations is a tab that you see up here on the screen. Mm-hmm. It's the 5th tab over from the home tab, and animations are your best friend. It could be your worst enemy as well. So animations, some of them are simple, like I can put in the red box, right? And now what I can do is I can click on that box and I can animate it. So I can make it appear, I can make it fade, fly in, float in. And if I click on this down arrow, there's all these different animations. But the green ones are entrance, the gold ones are emphasis, and then there's exit animations as well. But really, most of the time, you're going to use entrance. So I happen to like fade. So when I picked fade, you saw how they all kind of went off, right? Mm-hmm. Now, what you can do is you click on the animation pane here, and you can actually see the different animations. Okay, and then you can play them and see what happens when you animate. Or you can just run the PowerPoint to watch how it goes. So, right. That way people are paying attention to what they're reading. Okay, now I had showed you before that you can gray out animations. So I can select all of these, right click on them, say effect options, and here you can do a bunch of different stuff. You can change the timing. So right now it's on a mouse click, but I can say with previous or after previous, and I can put a time on it. And I'll get into that, but when you do pictures, sometimes you want the pictures to kind of come in one after the other. You can pick the duration, very fast, slower, medium, that kind of thing. But then under effect, I can say I want to dim these, okay, and pick a color. So now when I do them, I got to keep moving this video screen because it's in my way. But and then it fades out, red, and then fox. So now people are paying attention to fox. They're not paying attention to the and red, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you see how simple that is? It's really not hard.
Yep.
To do. Now, now to go on to more complex animations, let me put that up there. I'll show you some different stuff that I've done. So, by the way, these are the clients that I've done presentations to, just some of them.
Nice.
So to give you an idea. And I'm talking about at their corporate headquarters. Yeah. So here's an animation I did where I'm trying to explain the public sector, city buildings, schools, infrastructure, law enforcement, tying all their networks together for video security. And then the private sector, right? So that was an animation where I brought those in all over the internet. And then what I do is say, okay, now there's a crime occurs at this retailer. He sends it to law enforcement. Now that disappears. Now the law enforcement sends that up and shares that data with the with the city officials, with the private sector, as kind of a this is a bad guy alert, so watch out. Now, if they're not connected to the internet, they can upload it via this CrimeDex webpage and share it that way. So you can see how animation really tells a lot in the story, right?
Mm-hmm.
So another one, which you guys probably will have fun with, is Jeopardy. So I did this when I developed a training course for technicians. And what happened was, this is a 2-week-long course. So every day I wanted people to remember what they learned that day. So I would do this Jeopardy at the end of the day. And so, for example, here I can pick purchase parts for 200, right? And it says, purchase 500 gigabytes to 1 terabyte. And then the answer, what is the wide range of storage options? So what I would do is I'd have little Snickers bars, and when people would get the question right, I'd throw them a Snickers bar. Okay. Fraud investigation, local and national investigation groups, what is financial or banking, right? So this is the type of thing that you can do. Now, if you look at this animation, it's actually not hard to do. I was trying to find the Daily Double one, but I guess I'm not going to. But really what it is it's just a bunch of slides, okay? Every question's a different slide. And then at the beginning, I basically just say that when I click on this, it goes to slide number 5, right?
So you connect the slide?
That's how you create that. Yeah, but what it did was it gave a really fun way. It woke people up at the end of the day, and it kind of reinforced the learning that they got that day, right?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the power of animation. Okay, so back to animation. Things you can do is, for example, I can go pull a picture off the internet, save it to my desktop, and why can't I move this? Okay, save it to my desktop. So I'm going to insert a picture, and I'm going to go to my desktop, and I have a picture of an eraser here. Okay, so I bring this picture of an eraser in. Now what I can do is I can go to animation, and at the bottom there's motion path, and I can pick a motion path and move the animation along that path. And now what I can do is edit that path and change the path in whatever direction I want by just picking the beginning point and end point.
Wow.
So if I want, have it go right across, right? And now I'll just run that, and you'll see what happens. So the eraser just runs across the top. So so you can do things like that. Now, I said animations can be your friend and they can be your enemy. If you do too many animations, you're going to annoy the crap out of people. So you got to be careful with it, right? You got to have good reason for it and good content. But here I'll pick a picture like of me, right? And any picture you bring in from the internet, there's a lot of things you can do with it. But just having a picture here, it looks like a picture that I just kind of slapped on the page. But what you can do, if you double click it, in the middle here, it has all these options of different things you can do, right? Which makes the picture look integrated into the slide, right?
So you had to double click the picture.
Yep. Yeah, so you double click the picture or you just click on the format button. And you can do that. Now you can do it yourself by hitting picture effects and going through and kind of playing with them. Like you can put a glow around it, you know, that kind of thing. But really the basic ones are really good. And the key is you always want to use the same ones throughout as a theme. So if you're using circles, try to use circles throughout all your slides. You know, if you're using squares, try to use squares. One that I really like is this one where it just kind of fuzzes out the edge, but it kind of blends it in. And we'll see that in a second. So now I've got a blank PowerPoint. So what do I do for graphics? Well, it's actually really easy. Up here, I've just searched for free educational wallpaper. And here's a bunch of pictures. I'm going to pick one that I like, right? And let's pick this one here. And I'm going to save it to my desktop. Desktop, okay, save. All right, and now I'm going to go into View, and then you want Slide Master. Now, Slide Master, anything you do in Slide Master affects all your slides. So if you go to the top slide here, I can insert a picture and desktop. And I'll pick the picture I just grabbed. And I'll just kind of size it to fit in here, right? So there we go. Okay, so I've done that. Now that's on my #1 slide. You always have to remember to go to the top slide. Now, let's say I go to my main slide. Well, obviously my text isn't going to show up on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say Insert Shapes, and I'm going to pick like a square or rectangle, and I can put the shape in. And now with the shape, oh sorry, the zoom thing is really annoying how it's right in my way. But with the shape, what I can do now is I can say shape outline, no outline, and then shape fill. I'll just pick white. And then what I'll do is more fill colors and then transparency. And I'll make it like 70% transparent.
Oh, cool.
Or, right? And so let's make it less transparent than that. Oh, sorry. Let's see, white, and let's make it like 50% transparent. Okay. So that way, now when I close the slide master, that's back onto my PowerPoint, and I can see my text. And you got to play with it. You know, I might want to make that a little bit brighter so that my text will see on it. I might want to drag it out and make it a little bit bigger, right? But now my whole PowerPoint has that theme. So let me go back in there real quick so we can see what the heck's going on. But View, Slide Master, and I'm going to drag this over so I capture everything. And I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it less transparent, maybe like 20%. And close. Okay. Where's the close button? Slide Master, close. And so now I can see my text better. Right.
Cool.
So another trick with pictures is you see this picture, how it has the white background?
Yeah.
If you double click on it, you go up to color.
Dang. I had no idea about these
You
things.
pick all these different colors, right? But you can say set transparency color. And then you just pick the white in the background and boom. Now it looks totally integrated with the thing,
yeah,
right?
part of the slide.
Right. So it looks part of the slide. Again, you know, now you've got this professional looking PowerPoint that that shows very well, right? Versus what I started with a blank slate. So anyway, I think that's enough for you guys. That'll blow your mind enough. And I don't want to bore you guys. And we can always do a more advanced one later. Do you guys have any questions?
Sure. Just real quick, Bob, is there any particular fonts that you think, like, I mean, I'm sure, like, I'm not going to use like a, you know, Comic Sans or something, or, you know, something that's, or the creepy one, whatever that is, you know? So is that also like one of those personal preference?
It is personal preference, but you want something that's very legible. And I tend to bold everything because you got to think about people. Remember, you don't want this, right? You don't want something that people can't see. So you want something that you really got to think that they got to be able to see it from far away. And that holds true to even if you're doing it on your laptop at a table and showing people. You know, it's hard to read if you don't have good solid fonts. But you know, you can play with it. I mean, you can do high-tech fonts if you're talking about high-tech. You know, you can do whatever you want. But the basic ones like the Calibri work great. But you can see how, yeah, by just bolding it, it sticks out that much more. And the other thing you can do is you can hit this little shade button, which gives it kind of a 3D effect. Shades it a little bit and kind of makes it stand out.
Cool.
All right.
Well, I actually have to prepare a PowerPoint today, so I'm going to use some of these things.
Well, great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate it, and I hope you guys enjoyed it.
I did. Thank you, Bob.
Bob,
all right.
quick question. So how do we go to access the recording?